y'all, it is Nikki. Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody's 2024 is going swimmingly so far. Today I want to talk a little bit about a couple of reading experiences that I had recently that really hit me hard. But before I get into that, I have news. So many of you already know that I am one of the writers for the upcoming Blood of Kings Legends series, which is a spin-off of Jill Williamson's well-loved original trilogy, The Blood of Kings. We're about a year out now, which means that in this year we're going to be able to drop more and more exciting promo stuff and more insight into what we've been working on. And first on the list is character reveals, which is really exciting. And if you want to be up on that and if you want to help us with that, you can stay tuned on our socials. So that's mine, Andrew's, Kelly's, and Jill's. I'll put the links to everybody's Instagram in the description below. So if you want to stay tuned on their Instagram so you can comment and like and share and repost or whatever you want to do, feel free. If you're really serious about helping, like if you loved the original trilogy and you want to help us build hype, you can also check out our street team. We would really appreciate having more help spreading the word about this series, so if that's something that you're into, definitely check out the link. Okay, and now that that is out of the way, we can get to the topic at hand, which is my sad, happy reading experience. Let's start with the bad news, shall we? So I've had this book on my shelf for a while now, and there's a bit of a story there. So back when I was in elementary school, I had an incredible librarian who, bless her heart, was always trying to recommend books to me. The problem was I was an extremely picky reader. A lot of the books that she recommended to me I actually didn't finish, which I still feel bad about. This is one of those books. For years after elementary school, it would pop into my head at random times and I would wonder, did I give up on that one too soon? Then I found it at a thrift store recently and it was like, okay, here's my second chance. Maybe I was wrong the first time. It's, you know, $5. I can afford to give this book another try. So I did over the holidays. And guys, I really was into it. I was really enjoying it. Then I got to the end and realized that it wasn't in fact a standalone, which I thought it was. Not the end of the world, just kind of like, okay. But the real disappointment came when I started doing some research into the rest of the series and found out that the next book would basically undo what I really enjoyed about the first book. Not only that, but it would take certain aspects of the plot in a direction that I couldn't really get behind. And so basically this book that I was 100% ready to rave about and stage and recommend to everybody turned out to be part of something that I couldn't really believe in, that I wouldn't necessarily want on my shelf, and that I wouldn't feel great about recommending to people. Like, you guys know that I'm very passionate, and so it doesn't take much for a small thing like this, a disappointing book, to hit me very hard. But I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I sent a few emotional voice messages to my bookish shoulder to cry on and writing buddy, Candace, just lamenting my frustration that I had to give up on yet another series because it went into kind of funky territory and flipped right and wrong on their heads in a way that I fundamentally disagreed with. This has happened to me many a time because I do try to be really discerning about what I read and especially about what I buy or recommend to people, but I mean, I don't really want to be reading things that I wouldn't recommend to people, so I feel like that's fair. As a writer though, the experience was actually kind of positive because it gave me a burst of motivation, reminded me that there's maybe a need on the market, that there's a lack of something on the market, and it's a lack of the kind of story that I'm interested in writing. And I mean, I feel like a lot of us often go into those kind of slumps in morale where we lose sight of why we're doing what we're doing, why we're even putting so much effort into writing stories. Sometimes you need these kind of discouraging experiences to remind us that no, there is a need here that I'm trying to fill, and that goal, filling that need, is what makes this whole endeavor worthwhile. So that was reading experience number one. Reading experience number two was a lot more positive. I mentioned a few videos ago that I was working my way through Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. I probably just totally Englishified his name, but I don't really know how to say that in a Frenchy way. And wow, like, you want to talk about a beautiful book. Les Mis. While a bit long-winded, I was listening to the unabridged audiobook. It's so impactful, it's so beautifully written, there's so much to hold you and immerse you in that world, but more than that, I felt like it was just so rooted and in touch with something beyond the characters, with something transcendent and a lot more authoritative. It's a story very much about love, but not love in the way that we talk about it in our culture today, where it's all very romantically charged. Love in the true sense, love in the sense of putting yourself aside, thinking of someone else first at your own expense. So you see all these characters making these decisions to do what's right, even if it costs them what they want. And you see the beautiful ripple effect that this has on the people around them, on the rest of the story. Sometimes it has effects that they don't even see, but we do as the reader, and it was just so stunningly done. I just oh, I loved it. And then I made the mistake of watching the movie almost immediately and absolutely bawled my face off, but in a good way, you know, like catharsis. So for me, Les Mis the book was a reminder of the power that books have and that stories have, and what God can do through books. Because really, like, I walked away from Les Mis wanting to be a better human being. And if that's not the highest compliment that you can pay a book, I don't know what is. I guess this has all been a very long-winded way of saying, don't give up on whatever you're writing. Remember why you're writing it. Remember the need you're trying to fill. Remember what great stories have done for you in the past, and remember why you want to do that for someone else. And trust God to lend that deeper resonance to your story that will give readers something that they can really take away, that will change them, which, I mean, is the goal. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and that you could find something encouraging in it to take away. And as always, do not forget to spend some time in the clouds today.